Welcome to the Downtown, brought to you by Arlington Citizen Media. I am Daryl Smith Jr., and to my right is...
I am Brody John.
On today's show, it's all about the municipal elections.
It's that time of year again.
It is. We talked to Bowie Hogg and Cyndi Golden from the District 7 race.
And then we also talked to Raul Gonzalez from District 2. Well, he's going unopposed. There's no race.
There's not a race per se there, but, still go out and vote if you're in that district. Great conversations with all these candidates, fun questions, fun insights, I think, into who they are as candidates and people, and just a fun conversation with everyone.
Yeah, I mean, as you've heard in our past episodes, we don't just do the gotcha questions or the, strictly by the book. We keep it fun. We keep it light because, they're people just like you and me, and they live, obviously, in the city of Arlington, and they clearly love the city of Arlington just as much as we do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be running for anything. So.
Yeah, and I think that's as, it's just great that they show up and have a good conversation with us.
It's true. We are here with Bowie Hogg. He is running for District 7. How are you today, sir?
Hey, I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me in here today in this awesome new library. I guess we can't call it new. It's a couple of years old now.
Newish.
Still new compared to the old one. So,
Very much so. That old one was... it was long in the tooth.
It served a purpose for many, many years, and then the innovation came in this library. It's truly an innovation of a new library for a new century.
It really is.
And it may have to last a century. That's
it might. You're absolutely right. It might.
So why are you running for city council?
Yeah, listen, I'm born and raised in this town. I was born here. My parents moved here in 1974, like everyone else, when this town was still small, and then I came many years after that. I'm born and raised, and I realized how much this town. I went to schools here, and then I went off to college, lived in New York for just a little bit, and then moved back here and realized this is where I want to raise my family. I didn't have any kids, wasn't married at the time, got elected to the school board in 2008, so I've served on the school board for many, many years, and people have asked me over the years to run for city council, and I've said, let's focus on this, and then the time has come. I'm ready to roll off the school board, and I look and I think the city has even bigger needs than what we possibly need anywhere else in this city. Sure. So finding a way to bridge that gap between the schools and the city, of a city that I love, that my wife grew up here, and then my children are 5 and 7-year-old 2 daughters. Wow. How we bridge that's really where it is. It's truly a love for the city because there's so many other things you could do, other things with your time. And when I asked my wife, I was starting to get approached to run, I looked at my wife, I said, I've got to ask my wife and my mother first, because if they don't say yes, no one will say yes. And my wife looked at me and she said, would I love to have more time with you in the house and with the kids? Yes. She goes, but I also know this is what you love doing. Sure. She goes, some people have hobbies, golf, fish, hunt, podcasters, whatever it is. She goes, your hobby is serving and you love doing it. She goes, I know how much joy it brings. And so once she said that, it kind of confirmed this is the right step for me to serve the city next.
Love that.
Yeah. If she didn't have the approval, we all know that's number one approval first and foremost.
You get the approval there before it goes any further. I get it.
That is the truth.
So what does Arlington, the American Dream City, mean to you?
Yeah, it's a place where any opportunity is available. You look at the amazing young men and women that have created. I look at myself and my friends and the opportunities I've had. I just helped connect a student who I didn't even honestly know if we had someone like in the city. We connected a young lady. She's a senior at Martin High School, Erin Blassingame. She's eventually be on y'all's podcast. Okay. She's been through like NASA space camps.
Oh, yeah. I read about her.
Right. Yeah, and so I got a connection from a friend who said, we are willing to appoint 3 students in the country to come over and do this amazing, it's called Inter-Astra Conference. They choose like 100 of the most influential people in space.
Wow.
I'm not a space person. I had no idea anything like that even existed, but I have a connection of a connection, right? And they asked me, and I connected up, and this young lady applied, and she probably has the most amazing resume I've ever seen. And it's through opportunities that have been provided in Arlington. She goes to the STEM program, so she majored that. She's a Lockheed Martin intern over there. She's then taken a ton of other opportunities. And she's just a normal kid here in Arlington who is doing exceptional things. And that's what I believe the Dream City is no matter what you want to do, you're going to have that opportunity to do that. Living in, of course, a safe city. Right. We have to have those things that people want to come in and do. But that's what it is a dream of what are your dreams and how do we help you achieve them is where I believe we come with the Dream City.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite building in Arlington?
Oh, wow. What an interesting question. I'd probably you start thinking automatically this building, the new one, from where it comes. And then I start thinking, well, if we're just looking at buildings and you include houses, I'd say it's the one I grew up in and spent, the first 20-something years of my life growing up in. But if I had to choose one, it's a weird one. I'd probably say Mission Arlington.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'd say that because you look at what the true saint in this world, Miss Tilly Bergen, has done. And she started off, and people don't know this, she started off as an international missionary.
Over in Korea.
And then she realized, I should be doing this back in my town.
Right.
And that's about loving on your people.
Absolutely.
Serving God, but loving your people in this town and community. And you see that building, and you see the true love that she has. No matter what you drive up there, I think my kids are annoyed because every time we drive up, they get a picture, no matter what. And I think she's there every day.
Absolutely.
And one of my kids goes, how many pictures do we need with Miss Tilly? I go, as many as you can possibly get. Every letter she's ever sent me, and she's been so kind to send me so many letters over so many years, I save every single letter because I do know there's certain people you interact in your life. And so it's weird, sometimes I'm like, is that a building? Is it it is. I think it's a building, and I think it's truly the most amazing things that happen here in the city to help people.
Yeah, I talked to her months ago, and she is still just so sharp.
And so full of energy.
Yeah.
I don't have that much energy, man.
I drove up, during the pandemic. I think we all were, the great thing about the pandemic is we all had time to clean out our houses and get things resituated. And I drove up there, and of course, she's the one out there working in a full suit every single day, doing it. And she takes time and stuff, and she is truly a gift to this entire city, to say the least.
To the world, really.
To the world, that's right.
And the city especially.
It is amazing.
But don't call her a local legend. She takes that actually to offense because then you think she's calling you old. And I was like, no, you are just amazing. You've touched thousands of lives, so
millions.
Yeah, I would say millions.
Like,
just
I still don't know if she's actually willing to accept credit and the great things she's done. She knows deep down, and she knows she's serving her Lord and Savior. But she knows she's done amazing things, but she also stays focused on the people she's serving, which is amazing. That's not normal nature for someone to truly live that way, and she's truly amazing.
Sure.
All right, so when was the last time you got a speeding ticket in Pantego or Dalworthington Garden?
I don't think I've ever gotten in Pantego or Dalworthington Gardens. I don't think I've ever gotten one. Now, I will say this, and maybe I get in trouble for saying this. My brother is a retired police officer from Grand Prairie.
Okay.
And I've grown up with numerous officers, and my mom still says she's never gotten out of a speeding ticket because of my brother. But she's gotten out multiple times because friends I grew up with in Pantego and Dalworthington Gardens have pulled her over.
And be like, and
they're like, I don't think Bowie would appreciate me giving his mother a ticket. And she always gets nervous. She says, they ask her, they go, do you know Bowie Hogg? And she goes, I know you've never done anything wrong, but I'm still hesitant to automatically answer that question. And she goes, I know I can't get rid of it. I said, yeah, I'm Bowie's mom. And she goes, it's helped me multiple times to get out of tickets. I will say I did, talk about Pantego and DWG. I did get a ticket in Arlington. Okay. I took a U-turn, and it's one of those funny things. I made a U-turn, and I usually don't U-turn, and I made it, and the officer pulled me over, and he said, hey, that's a no U-turn. I said, I'll be honest, I've never seen it, and he told me the sign. I went back and drove. It was the biggest, largest sign I've ever seen in my life. And the officer was so nice and so kind, and I knew I'd made a wrong U-turn, like we all do sometimes. And he was so funny, and I was like, maybe it's just a sign I haven't seen. And I drove back, and it's one of those things you drive around, you don't look for things. And then when you're looking for it, you're like,
how did I miss it?
That couldn't be a bigger sign or more transparent, and I've probably made that U-turn 50 times without knowing. So it was a well sought after ticket that I said I deserved that one without a doubt, and I paid that ticket. So yeah.
So what is your favorite memory of Arlington?
Ooh, favorite memory of Arlington. I would probably say the parade when I was growing up.
I loved it as a kid. I love it now.
It was, and now, so I see the parade, and I think it because it spans multiple generations. I remember going there with my family, and now it's funny, my kids have never known the parade except for riding in the parade.
Wow.
And so we make it a point every year to be here at the 4th of July, and then we even do the parade the winter, the Christmas Lights parade. And my oldest child is made like me. She loves riding a parade, loves waving at people, loves talking to people. My youngest one could take it or leave it. But it's a family memory, and I think that's what's the most. I see it as, going out with my parents and getting seats early on to see the parade, having grandparents there, and now seeing it from the flip side of seeing my kids enjoy it. I think the parade is probably my favorite memory of everything that happens in Arlington.
And it's like one of the longest running, or like
I hear all kinds of different stats. It's the largest in the Southwest, and then
it's still good.
It's still good, and I think that's true. And then it's one of the longest runnings, and it is a giant parade, and you kind of laugh. You're like, it is so hot.
It is,
and that we pull that off on the 4th of July. And then the Christmas one this last year there was like 150 entrants in the Christmas ones, which is truly amazing.
I hope that one gets built up too, because I like having them both, being able to go at night and see all the fun cars and like
all the light up Jeeps that go in there, and it's truly amazing. You see the light up Jeeps, and we live in Interlochen, where all the neighborhood drives through, and so we sit out every night. Usually a Tuesday night or Wednesday night, all the North Texas Jeep Club drives through. And so while they're driving through to look at all our lights we put up, I drive through, and we're looking, sitting there waiting for them to drive through, because we're like, that is the coolest thing to watch all these people come from all over North Texas in these awesome Jeeps and drive through. And so it's those memories, and I think you start counting all the memories, and it's maybe not especially the things you do, it's the people you do it with. And then you think back of things that have been provided, like a great memory that I think could be there. Last night I took my 2 daughters to the Arlington Parks and Recreation Daddy-Daughter Dance. And it's, they hadn't had it since the pandemic, and so I guess we went 2 years ago, maybe it was 3 years ago, to the first one. And last night was the first time I was able to take both my daughters, which is a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. A 5-year-old and 7-year-old's a lot of work. And it's the right time. It's 2 hours. But what an amazing event that the Parks and Recreation Department put on. And we were sitting there, and we were in a table, and they served little hors d'oeuvres for you. And I was talking to just a random guy sitting next to me, another dad. And I said, well, where do you live in Arlington? Where, chit-chat, just normal chit-chat. And he goes, well, we actually live in the Colony.
Oh,
and I was like, really? I was like,
that is a hike.
Of course, me being inquisitive, I was like, well, can I ask you what made you come down to Arlington to go to this event? And he said, for one, we'd been recommended this is one of the best daddy-daughter dances put on in the Metroplex. And he goes, we missed our one at our school. We couldn't attend normally for my daughter in the Colony. And we've done this every year, so we wanted to do it. So we drove down. So then I started asking him. I said, well, what'd you think about it? And he was like, it's so well done and so high class and just so nice for the time with dads and daughters. It's those memories that start coming out and start coming together and everything.
All right, we have a small lightning round.
Oh, I love lightning rounds.
All right, Six Flags or Hurricane Harbor?
Well, as someone who used to guess age, weight, and birthday at Six Flags over Texas, I'll guess I'm messing up your lightning round, but I used to guess your age, weight, and birthday. I'd stand out there on the scale for 8 hours a day. I'd get to kind of heckle people on a microphone. Cool. And so I'd sit there and say, I still know the pitch. I'll guess your age, weight, or birthday. I'll get your age within 2 years, your weight within 3 pounds, and your birthday within 2 months. I'm not a psychic. I'm just a lucky guy. Step right up. At Six Flags over Texas, maybe the greatest job. I still say when I retire, maybe I'll work there. Because, I'm 15, I'm going to do that. And then the day I turn 16, I get promoted and I'm leading people. Right. As a 16-year-old, no one should probably do that. But it was a great opportunity. So if I had to choose Six Flags or Hurricane Harbor, it's, of course, Six Flags.
Sure. There you go. All right, Rangers or the Cowboys?
Well, I'm going to say the Cowboys. Even though I've grown up with the Rangers longer, I'm still a former high school college football player. So I'm gonna lock and load. Even though I do have tickets to the Rangers and the Cowboys, but I'm a diehard Cowboys fan.
That's okay. That's both.
I should say whichever one brings more sales tax to the city. That's always they both do it, so I'll take both of them.
All right, worst highway, 20 or 30?
Oh, I'm going to say I-20 because I drive 30 all the time, and so I'd say 20. You catch that afternoon traffic on 20. You catch a wreck on 20. 20 is the challenge and the problem. 30, 20 is a little better to get on 360, but 30 is about to overtake them on that challenge. So I'm gonna put we'll see how the design goes from the state, the Three Bridges project, but I'm gonna say 20 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, 20 and 360 is not fun.
It's not fun. It starts getting backed up, and you can get the east-west on 20, and if there's a wreck, everyone's
especially like
the redesign on 30 and the widening of lanes has really helped 30 a ton. If you'd asked me construction time when they were still doing it a couple of months, a year ago, I would have told you 30, but right now it's 20.
Think about 10 years from now. How does the city look to you?
Yeah, I think Arlington has changed, and we think about when you guys and myself have lived here for many years and how it's changed over the years. Arlington used to not realize we're an urban city.
Sure.
Plain and simple. And, when I first got on the school board, I looked and said, we can either be a low-performing urban district or a high-performing urban district, but we are a large city. We're the 50th largest city in the United States, and sometimes we need to act like it.
I agree.
And we're not always acting like it to go through that process. And so I do think it's going to change, and I think it's also a generational change. Housing changes for generations as technology gets better. You don't need as big of a house from that perspective. So I think you're going to see houses. I would sit there and say if I didn't have to mow a yard the rest of my life is going pretty well. I have no desire to mow a yard. I don't enjoy mowing yard. Right. That's not what my enjoyment is. So I do think it's going to change on the look of housing and what happens. And I do think with our location, we're going to have more maybe urban build of higher rise buildings, a little higher density. And so we've got to be able to control that density and make sure it's not affecting our current neighborhoods and have a very controlled build. But I do think you're going to see more density and a higher build and a more maybe urban feel with where it is. And
especially up here in the more northern part of the city than the south. Although we're getting some big apartments down south.
You're getting a lot, and it's not always apartments. There's always different options where it is. And maybe it's the, listen, getting north and south in Arlington is a challenge. Traffic is if you can avoid driving north-south, you do. East-west is pretty easy to get around Arlington from that thoroughfare. And so maybe in 10 years, with the creation of, driverless cars, maybe that's going to be a lot better, and people are getting to that stage, and it's not, you're not to that stage yet, but we do have to start preparing for those type of stages coming up in the future.
So do you have a favorite Arlingtonite?
A favorite Arlingtonite? Well, my first would probably be, but I don't feel like I can use her again, is Miss Tilly, of who grew up in that. But then if I start considering a favorite Arlingtonite, I'd probably go with Mayor Green from that perspective. And he's been doing it for so long, and I think also maybe just because he was mayor when I was in high school here. And so I got to know him a small amount, and during that time, I was an over-involved high schooler. I was class president at Arlington High School and did a lot of things and grew up in this town. And so I got to know him a little bit at that time and on that side. And so I look back and I think of Mayor Green, I got to know him. But then I also had the opportunity, it's hard not to say, Judge Vandergriff and Mayor Vandergriff from that perspective. And I had the privilege of getting a tour with him one day in Arlington, and he did it, and it was truly one of the most memorable moments in our life. But I say Mayor Green because he's worked hard, he's worked for the city, and he continues to work for the city.
I think he gets kind of a bad rap because the 90s were kind of a I would say transitional for Arlington.
Yeah.
They didn't really know like what direction they were going to go. I mean, obviously we're looking at a 5-story building outside this window right now, so we kind of went one way. But I would say that he probably doesn't get as much credit as he deserves.
It's true, and now that I think back, I probably should have said my mother, because we all know this is, if you're saying favorite on tonight, she's in Arlingtonite, so I should say there, and then maybe I should say my wife. So I think this is a no-win question, no matter what I answer.
You can have a lot,
no matter what. Yes, one of my many favorite Arlingtonites on there.
There you go.
It's so hard to pick just one. I mean,
They're also influential.
Yeah. So we have another lightning round.
Okay.
This is favorites. Favorite taco place.
Ooh, favorite taco place. La Marquez, right over on what's
Abram?
that? Randall Mill, or right over there.
Yeah.
It's another one. I'll just go with that.
Okay. Favorite pizza place.
I'm going to say Moni's.
Okay. Moni's gets a lot of love.
Moni's is amazing, truly what they do, and true Italian-style pizza. And it's hard not to say Mama's, and, I've grown up with that forever from that side. But I'm going to go with Moni's.
Moni's has a cool inside, too.
It does.
Like, it has a very cool, room off to the side.
Probably goes back to those memories. We've had a lot of events there. They have a lot of little rooms that you can use things in, and you walk in, and it's got, any place that has the original owners and they're true Italian, I think that, it adds to the atmosphere of where it is. So I'd probably go with Moni's.
Favorite coffee place.
Favorite coffee place. I would say right now it's Salter Brothers.
Okay.
I've been going to Salter Brothers, and we loved the bourbon pecan coffee beans from Urban Alchemy, and we used it forever and had it going there. So I've had to switch coffee beans, which is always a challenge in our house from where it goes. And so we've switched to Salter Brothers House Blend, and we've become huge fans. They've done a really good job, a nice little location. I've done multiple meetings here in the last couple of months up at Salter Brothers. So I'd say Salter Brothers right now.
Very nice. Favorite barber.
Favorite barber, this is easy. Right over in the same place as Moni's, John's Barbershop.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Jim Ross talked about him.
Jim Ross, my dad. I've gotten my hair cut.
Yeah, I've gone to John's Barbershop. It used to be John and Christie's, and then it just became John's. And I even went to John when he was over at Hudson's before over there, and so it's gone. Now I think he is since the pandemic, I've let my hair get a little longer, so I don't get a seam every 2 weeks. It's now about every month. My wife wishes I'd grow it a little longer, but pandemic was one of those. I'd never had a beard before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit, and I said,
well, let me see.
I've got to be a little more. I never made it past the itchy phase on a beard, which we all know. You guys both have beards, and so how do we get over that challenge? And I did that, and then it was interesting on Zoom calls, which we all faced. It was a great conversation point.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
And so I then embraced the beard, and I realized I never saw my dad a single day in his life without a beard. So I made it through the beard, and then I let the hair get a little longer. I can't keep it as long as I had during the pandemic, and this is not very long for most people. But for me, this is, if it hangs and touches my ear, I feel like it's a little long. So it's easily John's Barbershop for many, many, many years.
And favorite spot in Urban Union?
Favorite spot in Urban Union, I would probably say I'm going to have to go with Four Kahunas, the Tiki bar. It's place. A late, and listen, I would have said Legal Draft. Legal Draft has been one of my favorites. R.I.P. They have done a great job. So many events have been hosted there. We just had our 25th high school reunion at Legal Draft, or at Gilligan's last night. And so before that, we'd had it at Legal Draft, our 20th reunion. So Legal Draft has all those, but I guess I can't choose them now. But so Four Kahunas they do a great job. It's just a fun, different environment, something local, which I think you need those local fare, fun things to show friends when they come in from out of town.
I always take them to the Tiki bar.
Yeah, it's fun. It's different, It's like, it takes you back to old memories of, maybe I don't say it's cheesy TV shows, and you start thinking of those things. And so they do a good job, and the guys that work in there are really nice.
They do.
And the first Tiki bar in the DFW. So
is that true? I did not know that. Very interesting.
I think there's more now.
There's way more. I know Tarantula and Fort Worth, and I'm sure Dallas has 2 or 3.
The Tiki bars have popped up. And what a trend. You never know. Sometimes you got to let the market speak for itself and what's happening, and that's what happens. And so I'm glad we provided a tool for a guy like that to create a bar from that perspective.
That's like when my wife and I go to dinner in Arlington. That's where we end the night, and then we go home, obviously. But after our drink, because 1 or 2 of those, and you're good. You're good. You don't need anything else at the Tiki bar. All right, is there anything else you want to say to the citizens of Arlington about, running or anything?
Yeah, as someone who's loved this city, we find the ways of how do we govern, and governing's hard. Mm-hmm. City business is hard. Mm-hmm. School district business is hard. And when you're serving an elected position, it's a difficult job.
Right.
You have to understand people are going to hate you no matter what, and we always say, there's a reason you don't have to win elections with 100%. And so it is probably the fairest statement out there. But I always tell people, even when someone says, I don't disagree with you on that vote, I say, well, that's okay. You may agree with me on the next one.
Yeah.
And let's have a conversation and talk it through. And, passion gets going with everyone. And so it's finding the ways to bring those. But really for city council, I'm focusing on fundamentals. How do we create a safe city? If we don't have a safe city, nothing else matters.
Fair.
I've been endorsed by the police and fire associations. Okay. And then you start going in, you start saying, okay, we have a safe city. And then it's how are we providing neighborhood integrity? What are we doing? As a council, we've made commitments that we're going to provide basic services to our people. What are the streets doing? And they're probably in better shape than they've been in the past. The quarter-cent sales tax and the bond has helped some of that. Recently, if you looked at them 5 years ago, you would have said something totally different. There's still more work to be done. But then what are we doing on, trash pickup, water services, all the different basic services, stop signs, speed control, things of those nature. And then the last is redevelopment. Arlington's got a huge opportunity coming up. North Texas is growing. How are we making sure we have really calculated, targeted redevelopment? We've got this new EDC that's going to start helping, create jobs, target new small businesses to bring in new small businesses and really bring those in, have a hub incubator, make redevelopment somewhat easier. And so I think there's a lot of growth and a lot of potential in Arlington, and understanding how to work with city staff and how to manage and get going, because governing's hard. Constituent services is hard. It's hard work, and it takes experience to understand that. Sure. And so I'm ready to serve, and I'm proud to serve, and I hope people will come to the ballot box and start voting for me on that.
Yeah.
So if people want to follow you, support you, donate, find you on social media or your website, how can they do so?
Yeah, luckily with a name like Bowie Hogg, it's really easy to find me. As most people say, thank goodness there's not two of you from that perspective. But yeah, all you have to do is Google anything on Bowie Hogg, BOWHOGG, and I have a website, bowiehogg.com. My Facebook is Vote Hogg. I think my Twitter is just at Bowie Hogg. Luckily, most of those aren't taken.
Right.
So I was able to get all of those. And then, I'll give it out to everyone. I always do it to anyone. You can call my cell phone at 817-565-2636. It's been on the school district's website ever since I've served. I told someone, I said, luckily, I just know, two things in life. I knew I could never hide, and I knew I'd never be a ninja or an undercover officer, because there's no way someone would be like, there's no way you're really this. And so I always tell people, just reach out. And it's shocking people when people call me and they're like, whoa, wait a second. I'm like, for one, I hate voicemail. Let's just be honest. And then connect. But yeah, any way that someone wants to connect, I'm always open to connect with people.
Cool.
I love that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Perfect. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for doing this. It's important to, I always say communication is a key factor, and we have to have multiple avenues to get things out. And especially as generational changes, no one would have thought you had a podcast. Y'all are at show 105 or somewhere around there, 115. So congratulations. I know you hit the 100 a while ago. And so,
Dr. Jekyll's.
Generational change of how people get messaging out. This is one. So I appreciate you guys doing this for Arlington.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, we are here with Cyndi Golden, running for District 7 in Arlington. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, doing
thanks
good.
for being here.
Beautiful day, a little hot, but beautiful other than that.
Yeah, it's warm for March.
We're not
We're not used
for
to
March.
it yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're waiting for it to get back down to the 30s.
I think next week it's going to be more like spring, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, after talking about the weather, so I guess first and foremost, why are you running for city council?
So I believe every person should contribute to their community in some fashion, from children to adults to whomever. And some of us have a greater ability to contribute than others. I've lived a life of service. I'm a nurse. I'm an advanced practice nurse.
Oh, nice.
I've been advocating for patients for 44 years.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's rewarding for sure, but it's important. You know, it's important, and too few people really understand how important it is. And so, having the ability and the commitment and the passion for it, and also I ran before, but since that time I've served on the Ad Hoc Unity Council.
Oh, nice.
As chair of the subcommittee on health and wellness.
Okay.
I've been on the Community Relations Commission, and I currently sit on the Permanent Unity Council. I've learned so much about the city.
Wow.
So the pillars that we looked at for the Unity Council were housing, education, criminal justice, health and wellness, and economic disparity. And if you look at the entire city through those 5 pillars, you learn a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
So with that knowledge and with the ability and with the passion, I'm going again. I'm going to run for it's the at-large position, so anyone in the city can vote for me.
Right. So what does Arlington, the American Dream City, mean to you?
Well, I love Arlington. I even like Division Street. With its, I do. I like the grittiness
Me too.
of it. I like Pearls. Here's a disclaimer for Pearls, Marie's Pearls
Oh, yeah,
Charity
we
Land.
love that place.
Yeah.
I love that place. And I think I like that we are culturally diverse.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've got a top-tier university.
Go Mavs.
We've got, exactly. So we've got so much to offer that makes us a real city. You know, we're the 8th most diverse city in the United States.
Awesome.
And to me, that is appealing.
Yeah.
It's that's an asset. And I don't want to be in some place where everybody looks and feels and thinks the same.
Exactly.
And it gives us a richness in a culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the main things I like about Arlington, and I learned a lot about it being the dream city when we were studying, particularly housing based on ethnicity, and it was far more equitable than you would have imagined. So I believe in hard work. I was a single mom when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
I worked my way through nursing school, slinging cocktails and waiting on tables. And then I worked my way through anesthesia school because I was already a nurse. So I believe in hard work, and I believe if you're blessed with some intellect, at least, some ability, with hard work, you can make a difference in your own life and then make a difference in people's lives.
Absolutely.
And Arlington, for me, Arlington is that.
Yes.
That if you work hard and you have intention, you have the opportunity. So Arlington represents that to me as the dream city.
Right.
So we have kind of a fun question here.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite building in Arlington? I know it kind of throws people because we don't really have like a landscape that we don't have like a skyline or anything. Maybe besides 3 stadiums, but I know for me, like for Theater Arlington is one of my favorite places.
I was there last night.
Oh, nice.
And I'll answer your question, but last night I saw Sister Act, which was great.
Yeah,
The
yes, I
cast
heard it
was
was.
fabulous, and the theater's been renovated,
Yes.
so it's beautiful. You know what? It's not a building, but it's an architectural. These are architectural icons. I like the old neon signs from. They're on Division Street and some parts around the city.
Yeah.
I think those are great.
Yeah.
We unfortunately we've destroyed a lot of our history. I tend to like old funky buildings, and I really do like. It's not that old, but the old Vandergrift building, because I actually remember when it was a car dealership.
Right.
So that's sort of iconic.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I really like the additions they've done down there that kind of reflect that style of building, like the lion head stuff out there by the building, and it gives us another cool cultural identity sort of thing to hang our hats on.
Yes, I agree.
Now, when was the last time you got a speeding ticket in Pantego or Dalworthington Gardens? It's kind of a badge of honor if you live in Arlington.
Oh,
Actually, I haven't.
good
Wow,
for
I
you.
haven't ever had
Wow.
one.
Okay.
Good for you.
I haven't ever had one. I can't even. Oh, this is probably going to jinx me, but I can't even remember the last speeding ticket I had.
Hey, that's
so-
good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
mine was like 2013, but they got me in Pantego on Bowen.
Oh.
I was like 38 and the 35.
Oh, it doesn't take much.
It doesn't. Pantego's like, gotcha.
Yeah.
We got you.
Yeah, Darwin's Gardens pulled me over one time. They said I rolled a stop sign, and then I was explaining I was taking my friends to Dimebag's house because he had just passed.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dimebag Darrell.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And then they said I didn't have my license plate light was out. And I was like, I didn't know I had a license plate light. So,
This was a while back.
Yo, way a long time
obviously,
ago,
so- They,
Now we know.
they've always treated me fair.
Right.
I've definitely gotten a speeding ticket or two
Yeah.
over there, but not anymore because I've learned my lesson. All right. Do you have a favorite memory of Arlington?
I do, in fact. So I've lived in Arlington for 37 years
Mm-hmm.
now. I raised my family here. Both my boys went to Martin High School.
So did I.
Oh, what year did you graduate?
Oh, one.
01. So my son was a baseball player, but he graduated in 99, I
Okay.
think. Chris Kirby.
Okay.
But my favorite memory, my parents owned a hamburger joint / beer joint across the street from General Motors in the late 60s.
Oh, wow.
And I was just a child then, but it was really fun because there were only two places in town that were open all night. And one was my dad's place, and the other place was the Bullpen. And it was fun for your parents to own a hamburger joint and right there.
that,
It was the kind that had the awning around it with car hops.
Yeah.
And back then, Arlington was about 40,000 people.
Jeez.
And this was so awesome about it. So GM, of course, being the major employer back then, almost everybody in Arlington had a sleek new Chevy of some sort.
yeah.
Those big boat and GTOs, and I like cars, so that was fun to see them parked
Right,
around
right.
the awning.
Very Americana.
Yeah.
Oh, indeed.
I wish we had burger places like that again. I think they could come back. I mean, people love nostalgia, especially now. So I think we could maybe do that here in Arlington again. So we have a lightning round.
Okay.
They're quick choices if you
Okay.
had to. Six Flags or Hurricane Harbor?
Six Flags.
Okay. Texas Rangers or Dallas Cowboys?
Oh, the Rangers.
There we go.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, that is
I
right
tell
answer.
everyone.
Worst highway, 20 or 30?
20.
Yeah.
I don't get on 20 enough anymore, so it's 30 by default. But I used to live in South Arlington, and I used to have to drive to Fort Worth, and I hated driving to Fort Worth on 20.
Yeah, I live on 20. It's awful.
So, thinking about 10 years from now, what do you think the city will? What do you hope the city will look like?
Well, I hope in 10 years that they will be through with the inner loop.
Fingers crossed.
It's doubtful. I think in some ways it's going to look very different, and it's going to have to look different because the growth we're experiencing and the density. I don't think it will be an entire city of single-family residents.
Yeah, right.
And this is a hot button issue
Oh, yeah.
because strong neighborhoods are important, and you just have to look at things differently. So I think it will look differently. I hope it does because we can't continue doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Right.
That's definition of insanity right there.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. But I didn't want to infer insanity
right,
on
you're
anyone.
right.
Sure.
Now, do you have a favorite Arlingtonite?
I probably do, living or dead.
I think
Either,
either's
yeah.
fine.
Well, honestly, I think Mayor Van de Griff would have
Okay.
been. And I know he's iconic, but he really did so much for this city. You know, our city really was founded on, not founded, but has progressed by promoting business.
Sure.
Because back in the 60s, he's the one that got GM to come in. And all that was here that would attract people was Arlington State College then.
Right.
And so I have to admire his vision.
Yeah.
And foresight into knowing that the city was going to grow and how it was going to grow. And then if I choose people that are living, I have to say it's a couple, and it's OK Carter and Donna Derovich.
Okay.
They are so interesting and fun, and have contributed so much to the community through their writing and through their efforts. So they would be a couple of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially for Tom Vandegrift, like you said, visionary in a way that people probably at the time were like, why does he keep doing all this? Like, what is this? But like when you still see like the Rangers, GM, Six Flags, those early like investments in the city still drive our city today in a lot of ways. So good for him for being able to have that vision.
You know, our tourist industry is so robust. Do you know we have 14 million visitors a year?
Yeah.
Easy.
And it really all started with Six Flags.
Yeah.
I remember, I was really young, but I remember when Six Flags opened. And I'm sure there were people in the city that were going, oh, no, what are you doing?
Right.
But then it just grew exponentially from there. And with the opening of our Medal of Honor Museum just recently. Oh, my goodness.
We had former presidents, cowboys, everybody was here. So
it looked beautiful. I live streamed it, of course, but what a feather in our cap.
Yeah. Yes. I remember when that was going, it was between us and I guess, was it Denver? I think it was somewhere in Colorado. And I remember like thinking like, I really hope Denver doesn't get this. I mean, yeah, I love Denver. It's a really great city, but like I feel like it would be like a really nice thing to have over there that's not sports related.
Right.
Like something different that we could hang our hats on and it not be another stadium or another rugby team. Or another, and I love all those things. I'm so glad that the Jackals are here, but it's just you want to have other things draw people in, and I think that will be something that people will come to see for forever, in perpetuity.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to affect the whole Metroplex.
Sure.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because number one, it looks like it's really being done well.
The sketches are beautiful.
Oh, they are, and Arlington is blessed by location, being smack dab in the middle of the Metroplex.
Yep.
So that's one more attraction, but there will be people that will come to our city just to go to the Medal of Honor Museum.
Oh, without a doubt.
I don't know if you've ever been to the World War II Museum in New Orleans, but
I passed it. We didn't.
I went to the World War I Museum, and I've heard the two is even better. So.
yeah, so it's going to be that kind of facility, and what a great way to honor those heroes too. So.
Agreed. All right, we have our last lightning round. This is your favorite blank in Arlington. Do you have a favorite taco place?
Danny's Tacos in the gas station on on Arkansas.
Okay. Favorite pizza place?
I'm going to have to pass on
That's
that.
fine. Okay. What about another restaurant?
We like our old standby Max Bar and Grill.
Okay.
Max
All
is
right.
great.
Everyone Max is kind of an institution.
It is.
Do you have a favorite coffee place?
My kitchen.
That's sometimes the best cups are they're brewed there. Do you have a favorite barber or hairdresser?
I do. Dean Walkowitz. He's done my hair for almost 40 years.
Wow. Okay. Well,
maybe not. No, let me correct that. For 25 years.
Okay, that's still
Where's he
a
located
a long run.
He is on at Ensenada Salons at Bowen and where Abrams comes across the street from El Gabacho.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. It's a good restaurant.
Do you have a favorite place in Urban Union downtown?
Oh. That's hard. There's some good ones there.
Everything's so good.
Is it Tipsy Oak?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Tipsy Oak's so good. I was there for Thursday. Sorry.
I would say they have one of the better patios in Arlington.
Yes.
I love that patio.
It's always rocking. Like
It
I
is.
just walk by and I'm like, man, there's a party going on.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Now, where can people follow you, support you, donate, and find you on social media or your website?
My website is my name, Golden for Arlington, Golden, F-O-R, Arlington.com. They can reach me at Golden for Arlington Facebook. My email is goldenforarlington@gmail. And I would give out my cell phone because I'm okay with that. But because I deliver anesthesia in the operating room, it's probably not the best way to get in touch with me. But I promise if you call me, I'll return your call. But it's hard to reach me like that.
Well, they can email you first, and if they feel more comfortable there, you go
yes.
for the phone number. Yeah.
And on my website, you can sign up to volunteer or donate, and that's always appreciated. Campaigns are very expensive, so just for you to know. So how much do you think one of those yard signs costs?
Actually, Daryl knows.
I ran for Congress one year. They're not cheap, I know that, and they're probably even more expensive now.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what it was.
So
but it was a lot.
they're about $8 each.
Wow.
So it's expensive. I'm determined I'm not borrowing money. I've gotten a lot of donations and put in a sizable investment of my own funds. But it's not supposed to be about money.
Right.
But mailing is expensive, and the ways to get your message out are expensive.
Exactly.
So donations are always appreciated and support. Today I was at Mount Olive Baptist Church as a guest, and it was so wonderful. They were incredibly welcoming, and the service was uplifting, and that kind of support is priceless. There's no amount of money, and nor do you want it to be. What you want is the support of people that live here, you know, residents.
Exactly.
You want the support of residents, not necessarily endorsements by organizations and things like that. So it was really meaningful to me to get to experience that today.
I love it.
All right. Is there anything else you want to tell the city's citizens of Arlington, or anything else that you want to say before we wrap it up?
Yes. So, first of all, vote.
Yes.
Agreed.
Definitely
So-
vote.
Historically, in elections like this, out of about 300 plus thousand voters, about 30,000 will vote. So your vote really carries a lot of weight.
Outsized, and when you think about like other elections you vote in, your vote matters so much
It
in
does.
local election.
Right. And I do want to bring up on this May 7th ballot, there are two propositions that really will help citizens, if they're part of that group, to lower their property taxes. They have to do with actually increasing the homestead exemption. So if you don't go to vote for anything else, go and vote for those proposals. Secondly, I'd like to say that having a servant's heart and having the ability to run, I've had lots of leadership experience. I'm the past president of my professional association. You can look up the rest of the stuff. I'm not going to wave that flag, but it's important because your citizen voice is important.
Yeah.
And there are groups that would like to control things in the city that aren't necessarily in the best interest. And we've done a great job. Arlington has done a great job with its business, and we need to use that same imagination and fervor and passion to address some of the things that our citizens want. For example, our senior center, sidewalks. Let's just address the traffic issue. How can we fix this? You know, or make it better. Things that make our city more livable for those of us who live, work, play, and pay taxes here.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's it. I would appreciate anyone contacting me with any questions or any information that they would like to give me. And thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
We are here with Raul Gonzalez, City Councilman for District 2, and you're going unopposed, but hey, we love having you on the show, so we'll have you back on.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here with you guys.
We always love having you here, too. So.
Well, thank you.
So, I guess, why are you running for City Council?
It's the same reason before. Term limits pass, and just with my qualifications that I had with school board, I just felt it was an easy fit to go right in and not have to have such a big learning curve. So I love representing the community. I really believe that you have to ask the questions that need to be asked and represent all 395,500 residents, and not just a certain few. So, you know what? I'm just one of these guys that's really good at collaborating and finding solutions, and I think I bring a lot to the table with that. So
we think so too.
Agreed. I mean, I think the collaborative spirit, I feel that has kind of taken over. Some of the areas in Arlington over the last couple of years has been evident, and I love to see that kind of thing, especially. So what does Arlington, the American Dream City, mean to you?
Well, I live it. I'm from El Paso, and I moved here in 1980, and I didn't fit in. I had long hair, bell-bottom pants, and you know what? But I felt so comfortable right away, and I just fell in love with the city. And you know what? I never thought I'd be city council. I never thought I'd be on the school board. I never thought I'd do all that. And they gave me the opportunity, just being a regular citizen, just a hardworking guy with a family, and just be able to give back, and I just love it. And getting to meet people, I mean, it's just great. So we're the 8th most diverse city in the country. And when I went to school in 1980 at UTA through 85, I mean, it was so diverse. That was during the Iran crisis, hostage crisis. So it was just, there was a lot of things going on. It's just, but I've always felt comfortable here.
Right. And it's now the number one diverse school in Texas.
Yes,
so.
Yes, it is.
Which is a badge of honor.
Yeah. And it's about to have more kids than UT. So
enrollment-wise, yeah.
I mean, when you go to those kids, they're here to learn. Yeah. They're not here for football, which, I do miss football, don't get me wrong. I'm a big football fan. But the students that are here to get educated, and they're hardworking. When you hire somebody from UTA, you know you're going to get a good person that's going to work because they need the money.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they do. That's what was me. I had to work.
Same. When I was working full time all through my time at UTA, because I had not all through. I guess I took the last year off, but for most of it, I worked full time, and then immediately after I got a job. So,
What is your favorite building in Arlington?
Ooh, I've never been asked that question. That's a good one. I hate to tell you, probably Gilligan's. No,
that's okay.
You can tell with my food. It's got so much history, but I've been there since. You know what? I work in downtown Dallas, so it's buildings are different than here. So I really pleasure the small businesses. Really like the Cave, which used to have a lot of history with me. When it used to be Skippy's Mistakes. Skippy's and Gilligan. You know what? I know that sounds hokey, but it really it tells you a lot about Arlington, what it's about. Just this down to earth. And there's still those kind of things that are still around. Yeah. Because the city lost a lot of its history many years ago, and people trying to bring it back. It's kind of hard, but those are there that we still have. Candlelight, another one. I mean, it's nice to have that still here. So they all have history for me because I've been here 42 years. And, that's a long time.
It is, It's a long time to be in a place and grow to love places like Gilligan's, like Candlelight. I don't go to Candlelight very often, but when I do, I always kind of have this wave of nostalgia that comes over me, and I remember all these other times I was at Candlelight previously, and it's just a fun place, and it's like you said, it's history.
Yeah, and I think we all have a cave story. Caves or Skippies.
Yes, caves or Skippies. Yes, 100. I have several.
I'm not going to say anything.
Sure.
I did lose my wedding ring there playing volleyball because we were playing volleyball. So, in fact, that's how I got into Gilligan. We played Gilligan, so I got to know a lot of the guys back then. So, but I don't know how I lost my ring, but fortunately, my wife believed me. She was playing with me, so she knows. She knows why I lost it. So.
All right. When is the last time you got a speeding ticket in Pantego or Dalworthington Gardens?
Oh, God. Why did you ask that question? Because it's never. Now, see?
Oh, wow, okay.
Oh, my gosh. I know. You know what? And that's what I tell our chief. And I tell those cities, people know not to speed. So there's nothing wrong with pulling people over and that you're going to know, hey, they're known, don't speed there. You know, so when people get angry that the police here pull over people, no, I mean, it's like, look at it. I mean, you know, you think of it right away. You put on the brake, just like Cooper. Every
Agreed.
Sunday,
100%.
it's 35, and every day, you know, well, you know what? I'll take that. Oh, no, that was Arlington. Yeah, no.
Yeah. But it's like you said though. I got like 2 tickets, one in Pantego, one in DWG, and I never did again because it's 35 or 40 or whatever the speed limit is. That's what I go because they have the reputation.
They know they're going to pull you over.
Yeah. What is your favorite memory of Arlington?
You know what? I mean, all my family being here during. You know, I came here in 1976 when I was 14 years old, and I remember staying at the hotel next to Skippy's. And so this is in the 70s, okay? And there used to be an IHOP here in the corner. I remember going there with my grandmother, my cousins. So little did I know I was going to be here. You know, and I remember my freshman year in college, I was eating breakfast at the IHOP, reading the Dallas Morning News or the Star Telegram, one of the two. And then it hit me, it's like, wow, I was here, you know, just 4 years ago. I never thought I'd be here. So I think the first family vacation, Six Flags, I remember it was in the 70s, early 70s, and the big deal was if you kept your visor down, you would get a bumper sticker on your car, and back then bumper stickers were metal, and my dad did not want one, and so he didn't put it up. I wanted to have one when we went to El Paso, and so I said, I forgot something, so he gave me the keys. I pulled down the visor and went back out, and we had a bumper sticker when we were there. So you know what? I have a lot of memories, but you know what? As a child, that's what's neat, and that it's neat to come back. I never thought I'd live here and raise my kids here and be on city council. Oh my gosh, no, never.
That's the American dream story right there. All right, so we have our first lightning round.
All right.
Six Flags or Hurricane Harbor?
Oh, Six Flags.
Yeah. Not that I don't have memories of both, right?
Of course.
But Six Flags just has that special place in my heart, too. Texas Rangers, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, my gosh. I moved here for the Cowboys. There's no ifs or buts. I love my Rangers, but, man, I wouldn't be here without the Cowboys.
Okay. All right. Worst highway, 20 or 30?
Oh, 30, definitely.
Oh, yeah. That seems to be the consensus, especially with the recent construction, but also it feels like the construction over the past 30 years. So.
Yeah, no.
Think about 10 years from now. How does the city look to you?
Well, I'm hoping, as a city councilman, I want the development that's done while I'm here that I can be proud of. I'm really hoping that Union Urban Station does really well. I really believe. We've got a lot of young talent here, music talent, a lot of young people. We've got to keep people here, and I really believe those kinds of things, even though they're never, not in my lifetime are they going to compare to some of the other bigger things around us. Sure. But I think that hometown community, I think it's going to. So I'm hoping I see a lot of people that decide to raise their kids here and just be able to walk around, more walkability. Yeah. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. I mean, I walk everywhere. Sure. Even in downtown Deep Ellum, I walk from downtown here. Even on city council days, I walk all over the place. So I'm just hoping that, the biggest one to me has to be cleaner. This city's just really dirty. Yeah. And it's not the city, it's the citizens. They just throw everything away. I went to Ecuador recently. I went with some firefighters on my own dime. The city didn't pay for it. It was just to go with them to see them train. And I couldn't believe how poor that country was, but how clean it was. You couldn't find anything in the streets or anything else. And I asked the mayor, how do you do this? And he said, you just got to let people know. If you don't, this is when you get flooding and all that. And here, I mean, in fact, when I went there and I kept talking, in fact, the mayor's going to be here May 6th. He's coming to Arlington, so I'm really nervous from Santo Domingo, Ecuador. But I'm really nervous because when I was talking to him about the city, the firefighter that I was with, he said, you know what, you're going to make Arlington seem really dirty. I said, it is. Right. So we came back, and he says, you know what, you're right. I said, yes. I go, so I'm really nervous, when he sees it, because I can't clean it between now and then, but I'm going to avoid where I know where there's a lot of trash. And it's usually the access road from the highways. Yeah. That's where everybody just piles up. Yeah. So, yeah.
The wind in my neighborhood carries it all, appears to be in my yard. But I agree. There is a lot of that in this city. My neighborhood, I walk around my neighborhood, and it's like I take a bucket with me sometimes and just pick up the trash because it's my neighborhood. I want it to look nice, but you're absolutely right. That is a big problem.
And that's what I do. I walk, but it's neat to see my neighbors now picking up. And the Kroger above my house, a Kroger on Cooper and Green Oaks, I mean, there's always so much trash, and I've always said they've been bad neighbors. Every time I fill that survey out, I put it on there. And so one day during the ice storm recently, that snow thing that we had for 3 days, I went over there on the third day just to walk to get some steps, and I picked up trash, and it was this big diller bag. And I walked in there, and I wanted to speak to the manager. Manager wasn't there, but there was this young man, the assistant manager, and I just said, hey, look, I picked this up in just 10 minutes. I go, I know you guys are short-staffed, but you guys got to clean up. You got to put the carts up. And I even told myself, I'm going to try and pass an ordinance where all these businesses have to clean up when they close, not the next day when they open up. And it was amazing. The next day, that was clean, and it's been clean ever since. So it's neat to know that somebody somebody young told the manager, and it went on. So I went back to the manager and said, you won't believe it. I mean, I told this young man this, and he took it upon himself and told you, and it's been clean ever since. So you know what? It's just sometimes you got to just speak your voice and let people know what you think, and they don't realize it. I mean, we're living in this crazy world where everything's happening so quickly.
Yeah. Exactly.
So short-staffed especially.
No one puts it on social media how cool it is to have clean anything. So
which is crazy because you should, right? Like you should be like, man, it's really dope to walk down the street and not see trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Arlingtonite?
I'm so old now, you know.
Your experience is what you are.
Well, you know what? I want to make sure. What is Arlingtonite?
Your favorite citizen of Arlington,
Right.
Citizen. Oh yeah. Oh god. Wow.
And there's so many of them, right?
I thought that's what you meant, but I thought, okay, Arlingtonite. I thought, well, maybe he's talking about Night Spot, but like, no, I'm too old. That's why I said too old. You know what? I mean, just the founders. You know, I was fortunate to meet Mr. Mayor Vandegrift. You know what I mean? He really to have that vision and to see where we're at this point. I mean, to be young and to just to believe the American dream, to bring Six Flags here, to bring the Rangers here.
Right.
I mean, look where we're at. General Motors. I mean, it started with somebody young.
Yeah.
You know, so
and he was young back then.
Very young.
Yeah.
And so just to know, and like I said, I am blessed I got to know him. You know, I wish I'd got to know him a little more. But yeah, he's got to be. I mean, without him, we wouldn't be here.
Sure, we wouldn't have.
There's a lot of them, but I mean, he's one of them. Yeah.
Right.
All right, we got the final lightning round. This is your favorites in Arlington. Favorite taco place?
Pancho Taco.
Okay. Favorite pizza place?
Ooh, Mama's.
That's been a popular one today.
Yeah.
Favorite coffee place?
God, I don't drink coffee, but I go to coffee, Ground and Coffee.
Oh, Grounds to Gold?
Yeah, Grounds to Gold, because everybody's there. It's like, holy mackerel. That's where I meet people now. It's like, okay, I'll meet people that I drink hot chocolate, but
yeah,
that's right next to Rhodey's house.
It's right by him. Yeah. They have good tea there, too.
Yeah, that's right.
And a good atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's
really great. So
really
relaxing. Everybody's and you see all your friends like,
it's true.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, the bakery's good. It has regular stuff and gluten-free, so yeah.
I can't believe I didn't get the name right, so I apologize.
Oh, you're okay.
I just wasn't going to get paid for the commercial side. I didn't want to say it, so I didn't want to violate anything. Yeah, right.
This question may not be for you. Favorite barber?
Yeah, it's true. I guess we didn't think about it.
My wife.
Okay, there you go.
There you
She
go.
helps you out.
Yeah, I think I got the sexiest barber around.
you go.
So you know what? Yeah, I'm very blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, you have the whole role play thing.
Yeah.
Favorite spot in Urban Union?
God.
They're so good.
I know. I just love live music. You know. I mean, that's just my favorite. I mean, it's got. The food's good everywhere. I mean, obviously, I'm going to miss Legal Drive. Even though I didn't drink beer, just, you know, I knew Greg from high school, so it was just something that I always ran into people from El Paso there. But, you know, I mean, I hate to tell you, it's not even a place.
It's all of it.
Yeah, it's all of it. But you know what? Nap Heritage. I mean, that's the history.
Yeah.
And you got to understand, my in-laws are from the 1800s from Arlington here.
Wow. Okay.
So even though they don't have names after them, I call them the Rebels because they were the ones that, you know, questioned things a lot.
Okay.
And so, you know, when I got married, the Sublets were there, the Matlocks were there, the Cons were there. So it's neat to see all this and to see the history, you know, how they moved here. And there was, I mean, I remember the grandfather talking about the dirt roads still, you know, and Dallas still having dirt roads. And then I remember there's one house right by the pawn shop, and there was this man that was sitting out there all the time. And I asked the grandfather, I said, man, I just want to, and this is back in the 80s. I said, I really want to meet that guy one day. I go, it looks like he would have stories. He goes, yeah. He goes, you won't believe. He goes, he used to be the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan.
Whoa.
And it's like, you know what? It's so neat how, you know, the history. It's just,
Right, of
it's
course.
history. That's it. You know, I mean, it's just, but there's so much that's happened. I mean, you know, I forgot what the question was, but I'll be honest with you. But it's like, yeah, I just my family being from here, and people don't realize I do have, I love history.
Yeah.
In El Paso, we had John Harden, Wesley, big gunslinger. We had many shootings there, and what's really funny is to see stories like one of the first guys that died on the Urban Union on the little bankhead that we had. He was from El Paso. I'm like, and so there's this comment of Arlington, El Paso,
Yeah,
a lot. It's like it's weird and
a connection.
Yeah, there's a connection for me. So it's just I always see this El Paso. So
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So is there anything else you want to say to the citizens of Arlington? Any issues you want to bring up or anything like that you just want them to know about from you?
Well, you know what? I'm really there for everybody. I really want people to know that. I know I get elected by District 2, which is south of I-20, but I represent every single person. We're very diverse. We're trying to get, more people involved that are not involved. For me, it's important to get new people in.
Yeah.
When I appoint people to any committee, I want them first living in my district because it's important, I think, to have somebody in my district. If somebody doesn't want to be in it, I'll go outside my district. But I want them to love what they want to do, not just be on a committee. And you know what? I want somebody that's never been involved because that's how it happened with me. If you just keep getting the same people over and over, it doesn't do any good for the city. It's like you got to have new ideas.
And you got to bring new blood in and new people that aren't part of the process so that it can grow, like the amount of influence and participation in the city.
Absolutely. So, it's important to get, I've been on city council for 18 months. I've had 4 town halls. I'm going to have a picnic on April 24th at Stovall Park.
There we go.
Everybody's invited. It's nothing. It's not political. It's just to go out there, free hot dog. Sliders. We're going to do hot dogs, but we got somebody that volunteered to do, barbecue sliders and stuff like that.
Nice.
But it's just, just to get people together, and that's what it's about. The more people that the better city this is.
Yes,
It's just amazing. It's amazing how many calls I get from citizens complaining about their neighbor, saying, my neighbor does this. Can you do this? And I'm like, can you not just?
Can you just talk
it goes
to
in my
them?
head. Can you not talk to them? And they don't.
Yeah.
But you know what? I do it, but it's important to talk.
Sure.
It is.
Yeah.
We're not going to get along, all of us. We're not going to have the same thoughts and beliefs, but you've got to get along. So I
we
said
all live
we don't
here.
get along. We need to get along.
Right.
And that's what it is. Right now, if you don't agree with somebody, people think you're a hater. It's like, it's sad. To me, it bums me out.
Yeah.
But that's what's neat about city council. We're so diverse right now, and it's neat in just the 18 months how we've evolved into something great. I hate that we're losing Ruby.
Yeah.
Victoria's going to be a big loss. I hate that. But when we went to D.C. to sit there with our congressmen and, and talk to them, and we all spoke, and we just were able to grow off each other, and it was just so neat.
so cool.
And it really was. That's the first time it's ever happened for me, and we just all have the same common goals, and it just made us appreciate each other more. So,
Yeah. I think people with different ideas need to come together more. And again, you don't have to get along with your ideas. Don't have to change.
Yeah,
but
you
have to get along.
Yeah,
but yeah.
You wanna
I know. I
go-
said the same thing.
yeah.
You did the same thing I did.
But you don't have to have
You
the
gotta
same,
get along.
Yeah.
That's what
you
you're
have the
trying
same
to do.
thoughts, but different thoughts bring different things, which everybody needs something different all the time. You can't have the same thing all the time. It gets boring.
No, and that's what's weird about city council at first. People are like, why are you asking this question? Like, okay, I'll never forget when I was in school. This is the greatest example of why can't you have your own ideas. I was in English class, and it was literature. They wanted us to read this poem and to tell the teacher or the professor what we thought this poet was trying to convey to us. And so I said what I said, and she said no. And I looked at her like, okay, this person died in 1500s. How do you know what that person said if this is what I read? And that's what got me. It's like, really? It's like, how do you think you know what this person said? So, that's the thing with a lot of people. It's like, we live different lives. We have different circumstances. Totally different.
Exactly. What time is that picnic, by the way, on the 24th?
It's from 12 to 3 on April 24th. It's a Sunday at Stovall Park. Everybody's welcome.
There we go.
Especially y'all. I would love to have y'all out there.
Yeah,
Bye.
we're recording that day, but
Yeah, we'll come back
not at noon. So
Well, I love you guys doing this. This is really, it's one of my favorite moments of being elected on city council, to have met you all and to see you in the community, see what you're doing. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me.
If people want to follow you, support you, donate, find you on social media, your website, see you dance every Friday, where can they do so?
Well, you know what? I need a place to dance. I retired after 38 years. So since you guys are all creative, it's like I thought about you. I was like, hey, help me find place that
Jalen is always dancing on Cooper.
Oh, I know.
I think
I see him.
needs
I
a
love
partner.
that guy.
Yeah.
I know. No,
I'm not saying you need to dance like him.
No, I
but
cannot. I would have a heart attack if I danced like him.
Your neck might break a little bit.
Yeah, but you can find me at raulhgonzalez.com. It's real easy. So RAUL and then Gonzalez is with 2 Z's. And then I have a Facebook page, Raul Gonzalez for City Council. So, I try and post a lot to let people know what's going on. Not to brag, but to let people understand what's happening in Arlington. It's amazing. Like yesterday we went to Pancho Tacos and I posted, we went there and then people were like, wow, I didn't know this place existed. That's what it's about. I mean, this morning we went to, how can I forget, Bigotes. That's a great breakfast place. This morning I was there and new owners are in there and they're building it. So I love small business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do we.
And I love what you guys are doing. Like I said, you doing this means a lot. This city needs it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, and thank you for coming on. Appreciate always fun to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will have you on again. You will be a 5-timer in no time.
Without a doubt.
All right. I feel like it's Saturday Night Live. I'll be able to. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. We have a 5-timers club. So far, what? 2 people? 3?
2 right now. And if we have the Brewers on, they'll be
we have 2 5-timers right now.
And we got a lot of 4s. So.
Garrett Martin and
Jeff Moore
from Team Envy with esports. But you're what, 3rd time now, right?
Nikki's almost a 5-timer.
Nikki is.
She's actually never physically
she's
been on
never
the show.
Even been on been
Same,
on
thing,
the show.
Same thing with Jeff. Jeff was never on the show.
Nikki's always been
Zoom or Skype,
because it was all when we were talking. It was especially during.
I'd love to see you guys. It's like, in fact, I'm thinking about this now, growing a beard since I see y'all. Like maybe next time there'll be 3 of us. Like my wife won't be happy, but I'm gonna try it.
Just get patchy, itchy face, you'll be fine.
I know. This is already bad for me at this point. Okay. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you so much to Cyndi and Bowie and Raul for coming on the show. We appreciate you taking the time to come out and answer questions from us, and hopefully the people and the citizens of Arlington had a good time listening to it, and hopefully maybe you learned something that you didn't know and might help with your vote.
Exactly. And if you need any more, if you have any more questions for them, they gave you all the resources to reach out to them. Otherwise, go find us on social media and we'll help you find them as well. But they're fun. And we're not we're not having any favorites.
Yeah, no endorsements.
Yeah, no endorsements here. But go out, make sure you vote. You may not think that these votes count very much, but they do.
They do. You have an outsized voice, I think. Arlington is not known for a city that votes. So, you're talking like a city of almost 400 or 500,000 people now. And only like 30,000 voted in the last one. And let me just tell you, that was up from the previous years from like 20,000. So, if you aren't, if you need to know where to vote, you can search that online. Like, you can reach out to us. I'll help you find that out. I live for that kind of stuff. And it's important to get out there and vote in these elections because the stuff that the city is doing has such a tremendous impact on your day-to-day life. And if you want to have any say in all in that or just any say in how your community is being run, this is the time to do that.
Right. It's also good practice for the big elections that are happening in November. So get to it today so that way you don't have to worry about it in November.
That's right, because we are doing early voting. I actually don't have that information with me right now, but I will put it in I'll put it in the description of this episode. So
there you go.
But while you're getting ready to vote, on May 7th is Election Day. I do know that. So while you're getting ready to vote on May 7th, every first Sunday at 6 p.m., Dr. Jekyll's hosts Arlington Open Mic.
And then every Monday night, go back to Dr. Jekyll's for Trivia Night. That starts at 7 p.m.
Every Tuesday night from 8 p.m. to midnight, Blitz Lounge is having their karaoke night.
Open mic / poetry night is every second Tuesday over at Create Arlington.
Every Wednesday at Jambo's Barbecue, catch UTA Jazz from 5:30 to 7:30.
And then later that night, test your trivia knowledge over at Division Brewing. That is from 7 to 9 p.m.
One Love Lounge is hosting Artist Love Night, a.k.a. their open mic night, every Thursday starting at 8 p.m. So while you're out there doing that, remember to
Make sure to go and eat local, drink local, and
go rediscover your city.
tag us and send those pictures over to us on Facebook, Arlington Citizen Media, Twitter, ATX Citizen Media. Tag us on Instagram, Arlington Citizen Media, and send those pictures the old-fashioned way. Email arlingtoncitizenmedia@gmail.com. Also go to our website, www.arlingtoncitizenmedia.com. Don't forget to subscribe and give those 5-star reviews of the downtown at Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and also hit us on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.